welcome back to After the Snap. I am your host, Tasha Pierce, and I'm joined today my good friend D.
Hello.
What it do, girl? We are going to continue the conversation from the other day, not from just a few minutes ago where I didn't hit the live button, not then, but from the
It's
other
all
day
right.
when we
We
were
were
talking
practicing.
about we were talking about the tragedy from AstroWorld. We're just bringing some of the latest news and updates and some more of our thoughts.
Mhm.
And feel free to comment down below. And I am going to change our banner because yeah, we was deep into conversation by the time we
Yes.
realized that I wasn't recording.
Now I have to remember to look at that.
Yeah, let me see. So we will start from the top, and at the top, we want to talk a little bit more about Ezra Blunt, but Ezra, we're not, not much has changed. If you're unsure of which victim Ezra Blunt was, he is the youngest known victim that's still hospitalized in critical condition. He was 9 years old, and of course, that family has recently filed a lawsuit against Travis Scott, which we knew that was inevitable. But there's still that GoFundMe because the cost of keeping him in intensive care is exponentially rising by the day, and they have raised the amount that they are trying to uh, to recover to right around $200,000. So right now, um, I think you D said 53,000.
59 and some change.
59. So they're at 59,000 right now. Uh, Now they are seeking to reach the $200,000 goal, and I would not be shocked if it went up higher than that. Uh,
Tomorrow.
yeah,
Yeah.
because that's the bills are going to be ridiculous. The
Oh,
bills are going to
yes.
be ridiculous, and it's because of the state of healthcare in the United States. And I got to get that in, no matter how many times I have to re-say it over and
Yeah.
over. The state of healthcare in the United States, y'all ought to be ashamed. We ought to be ashamed of ourselves. But
Yeah.
yeah, you was about to say something. I don't want to be
No, I
monopolizing
mean
this conversation.
this event took place on November the 6th, if I'm correct.
Hmm.
And he's been in there 6 days. I'm quite sure it's way more than the two hundred
Oh
thousand
heck
dollars.
yeah!
It's
It's got to
into the
be.
millions.
It's yeah, because it usually runs at least for ICU at least $50,000 a day. $50,000 a day, and that's at the low end.
And
Don't need
that's just being in intensive care. That's not
right.
including the doctor's fees and the
No.
nurses and the itemized list that they're going to run down, the
Yep,
meds that he's getting.
MRIs and
Yes,
CAT
CAT
scans
scans.
and all of
Yes.
that. 200,000 is really lowballing it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I
So
know,
it'll
but
probably be changing, um, the amounts from time to time. So like I was saying before, I'm just hoping that, we can make this go viral and get this family some more help, um, because they're going to need it. They're going to need it for all the time that he's in the hospital and even after once he gets out.
exactly.
And I'm being optimistic about him getting out.
Yeah, we gotta believe he gonna beat this. We gotta believe it. But even
Yes.
if he does, it's gonna be a long, like she said, a long road to recovery.
Yeah.
Um, and again, the information about the GoFundMe, the link for their GoFundMe is in the description on Facebook and on YouTube. So take a look and do what you can, if you can, to help this family. Um, then we also picked up a ninth victim, unfortunately.
Yes.
Ninth, you want to talk about Barty?
Her name was Suni, you said?
Barty Shahani. That's her
Barney
last name.
Shahani. Yes,
Yeah.
she was a 22-year-old college, Texas A&M, I believe, college
Hmm.
student. Um, she succumbed to her injuries that she sustained during due to attending the Astro World Festival. Her, like I said, our hearts, prayers, and everything go out to her family, as well as all the families that have been impacted by this event. Um, I know you were saying that you watched her her family in an interview, and
Yeah.
the interview was heartbreaking. I haven't gotten a chance
Oh
to
my
watch it.
gosh.
I don't think I want to watch it because
Right. You
no,
gotta
I'm gonna be
be.
crying.
Yes, indeed. I cried. That mother, uh, again, just like Davina said, and I guess I better put our names up here so you know who's who, huh? But just like Dee said, we um we feel for all of the families, so it's
Yeah.
not any less
No.
tragic, no matter who it is. But
Hmm.
the fact that I could see this woman and her emotions
Yes.
were so absolutely raw,
Yes.
and it's heartbreaking, especially if you are a parent.
Yes.
Especially if you're a parent and you could have pictured your own child being at that
Mm.
freaking concert. Oh my
Yes.
goodness.
Because I mean, both of our children, quite sure that they like Travis Scott. Um,
Mhm.
and I just being a mother, period, it's heartbreaking. You can, I don't know what it is. I guess it's like some type of connection that mothers have, that you can feel
The pain.
the anguish, the
Hmm.
heartbreak, the emotion from any parent, a mother or a father who has lost a child. And I'm here to tell you that it's not a good feeling. I'm just hoping that she can hold on to all those memories that she has of her wonderful daughter, and use those to get her through, you know, through the, through the rest of her life, or this through this here. Just remember those memories, because that's what she has left, unfortunately. And don't
Right.
let her name die. So I'm quite sure, you know to try to do something that's going to be uplifting in her name, because it seems like she was a really nice young lady.
Yeah, they spoke very highly. And it's one thing when your parents speak highly of you. It's something else when other people, your cousins and all this,
Yeah.
everybody agreed that spoke at that press conference yesterday. Everybody agreed that this was a unselfish young lady. That this young lady never asked for anything.
Yeah.
She was always giving, giving, giving. And then she finally asks her parents, can she go to this concert, even though she was 22 years old?
I was
She,
just about to say that. Whose
dear
kid
said,
asked them, can they go to the
well,
concert in 22?
but that's their culture too.
That's true.
But she asked her parents, could she go to this concert? And they gave permission because she never asked for anything. And
Yes.
this is how that turned out. It's just so flippin' sad. Uh, Speaking of how it turned out, the attorney for that family, the Shahani family, says Astro World was a monumental travesty from start to finish. From the performer down to the ticket sales, everyone gets an F. It failed at every level. And I unfortunately have to agree with that.
Yes.
He's right. There, Live Nation, the security, and then some may even go say Travis Scott. And the question on a lot of people's minds is how much of this lands at Travis Scott's feet.
Mm-hmm.
And in I guess in kind of an answer to that, yesterday. Oh, and I think I might have lost my. I Yesterday, People Magazine talked about a GQ magazine interview that has resurfaced from Travis Scott. Now, Travis was interviewed in 2015's GQ magazine. So now,
Mm-hmm.
mind you, this was 6 years ago. So that was 6 years ago. Travis Scott. He does have a right to change.
Yes, he
Oh,
does.
but these words are kind of damning. He said, since I was 6, I wanted to be an effing wrestler. So in performances, I always wanted to make it feel like it was the WWF or some So okay, but that doesn't sound so bad until Scott, who is 30 now, he goes on to explain that he hopes to spread raging and having fun and expressing good feelings across the globe. So, depending on what raging is, that might not even be that bad, right? What does he define as raging?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're going to get into him saying that he is encouraging the fans to find anything you're going to use to consume to get you lit. And then
Oof.
he lists various substances, including drugs, water, orange juice, candy, alcohol, whatever you got to get you to get you lit. And then he said, and then whatever you want to do, get it in and just have fun. At the end of the night, you should be effing throwing up.
I
And
don't
I'm like,
know what kind
that
of party that is, but
right, I
throwing
was
up
just
is
saying
not
that
my
didn't
thing.
age well at all. That did
That
not
don't
age
sound
well at all.
fun. No.
Hell no. But you know, uh, so
Shoot.
these words are going to you can bet your bottom dollars
Hit him in the
it's
butt.
gonna come back. Yeah. If People Magazine is quoting this, then you can believe everybody, attorneys, everybody is going to get their hands on this article where he specifically broke down what a party is to him. Yep, it's going to get him. So we also go ahead. Were you about to say something?
It's just a shame. I'm just 2 years late. Yeah, I'm fine. No, go ahead. I'm sorry. I was
So
mellow.
some of these other things that we learned that had happened with him at previous concerts, he was arrested and charged with disorderly conduct in 2015 after encouraging fans to climb over security barricades and rush the stage. So that was in Chicago in 2015. Then in
Mm.
2017, he was arrested for inciting a riot during a concert in Arkansas. He he pled guilty to disorderly conduct there. So do we have a pattern of behavior?
Unfortunately, yes. Seems that way.
And just like we say, even if he had changed and we just haven't seen these changes because he hasn't had these larger too many more large events like this, um, maybe his mind has changed, but we don't have anything to base that theory on, that he may have changed over the last few years.
Yeah.
But I don't. Yeah, I can't see anything that says to me, "Oh yeah, I made a change." But we'll see what his defense is when he gets hit with all these lawsuits.
And they are coming because you said it's over two, no, over 100 lawsuits so far now.
Yeah, we're looking at
And it was just 17 on Wednesday.
Wednesday it was 17, and today, well, no, this today is November 12th. So
Yep.
as of 12:36, it has
Hey,
gone up.
boy.
Listen, oh, Lassandra's here.
Yeah.
Hi. Um, as of noon today, D, the count is now over 200 as of noon today.
Oh my God.
So I'm going to read you the article. This is coming to us from Deadline,
Mhm.
and I'm going to hit this so everybody can see it. Let's see. This attorney right here is Benjamin Crump. He is
And
a very well known attorney. This personal
yes,
injury stuff, especially. What you say,
yes,
D?
yes. I like me. I
Oh,
love me some Ben Crump.
he is. His reputation is known far and wide. For he wants you. This is the attorney you want if you feel like you have been wronged. If you feel like you've been wronged, Ben Crump is your man, because he is going to fight through hell and high water to get you whatever money he feels you deserve.
Yes,
So
most
today,
definitely.
again, we got this update. The lawyer, best known for his representation of the family of George Floyd and Trayvon Martin, announced at a press conference that he and other attorneys filed a lawsuit on behalf of 90 people who attended Travis Scott's AstroWorld Festival. It also goes on to talk about the 9 people who have died as a result of injuries sustained at that festival. Uh, Crump said victims were injured mentally, physically, and psychologically. This should have never, ever happened, he continued. This lawsuit is not just about getting justice for them, but it's about making sure the promoters and the organizers know that you cannot allow this to ever happen in the future, even if you have to immediately stop the concert, Crump said. And he specifically called out Live Nation. And it's just like he said, I think this should be like a clause with the fans, where they should understand that if your behavior gets so freaking out of control that we got to cancel this concert, that's
You will
on
not get
you.
a refund.
No,
Yep.
no refunds. So it's in your best interest to make sure everybody act like they got some sense at these concerts.
Most definitely.
Where was I, girl? Because I started ranting. There were several people who could have stopped this concert when we saw these tragic circumstances start to occur at about the 9:05 timeline. And we have a timeline that breaks it down. This is what Ben Crump is going on to say here. Uh, he said, and each and every one of those people could have stopped the music and everybody could just take a breath, but they didn't do that. And that's what we are saying to Live Nation and everybody involved. In the future, safety must be paramount. So I wholeheartedly agree with that.
Yeah.
This is what we've been saying from the beginning, over here on this here channel. We've been
Yeah.
saying from the beginning that everybody, of Travis Scott might have an excuse. The security might they might have an excuse, but the concert production team, the people who were supposed to be looking out for the safety of the entire concert, not just looking out for the safety of Travis Scott and his camp. You were not supposed to only be looking at the bottom line. You were supposed to be looking out for everybody. And all you had to do when the police came and told you that this was a mass casualty event, you should have stopped the concert. Somebody should have went and told Travis Scott it's a wrap. But instead, we end up with this.
Yeah.
Um, I'm
Because
going off the rails. Let me pop you up a little bit more. Okay, go ahead.
not only that, but like we were talking earlier, and I think I was watching Inside Edition today, and they were showing them entering at the very beginning. This
See,
was
that
before
wasn't. That's
the
the thing. That wasn't the beginning.
that
That was when
wasn't
Travis Scott was about to start. Because those the show started earlier in the day.
no from Inside Edition. They said this was 4 hours before the concert started.
Oh, so the first big surge and run, and people did all that running and jumping and picking up shit. That was that was before the anything.
That's my understanding as watching the Inside Edition. And
Oh,
when we get done today, we're gonna look it up so we can be absolutely correct, because I want to be correct.
yeah, we're
But
trying to be
they were
thorough.
showing people like rushing in and knocking down metal detectors. There was a security guy, a black security guy, like hitting people and pushing people, and it wasn't like light pushes, to prevent them from, because they were like trying to run him over. And anytime you got somebody coming in and you're running over a metal detector, that's when you need to be cutting it off right then and there.
And yeah, and then the police chief had made mention of the fact that there were 53 people, I mean 50,000 people that they sold tickets to,
Mm-hmm.
but it could have been thousands of people who didn't have tickets who were trying to rush like that so that they
Mm-hmm.
could get in without paying.
Yeah.
And you're now, with that in mind, you are 100% correct. This thing should have never, the whole thing should have been cut off. If they were already acting barbaric before we even get to the Travis Scott portion of things, it should have been cut off. That's
Yeah.
that's the only thing that I can. I mean, Yeah, but you, of course, there's money over everything too.
And then it was a in that article that you were talking about, this article here with People Magazine, at the very end, it says that they were notified. Oh goodness, where did it go? Something to the effect that they were notified um, of previous situations where the crowd got out of hand. And
Oh,
so, yeah, I can't find it. I had it
where
in
he was you talking about the disorderly conduct stuff in 2015, or are you talking about the crowd?
I can't find it, but it was saying to the point where that they were warned that there'll be maybe a lot of a big crowd,
Yeah,
and what to expect. But even like when we were talking about the security, um, like the security was training the day before.
right,
And everybody that they've talked to so far has said that it was rushed. It was very vague. They didn't really know what they were supposed to do, were supposed to do. They were unarmed, so it's like, what are you
what are
what are
we
you
gonna do
supposed to do?
anyway?
And then you said on Wednesday that they had one young lady who came with. She actually applied, and
Right,
four other people came with her that didn't apply, and they were forwarded the opportunity to be security, and didn't know anything about it. And then they were like taking that people were taking their vests off and
right,
blending in just to see the Travis Scott concert.
right. The people were coming from as far as that I know of, from Dallas to
Yeah,
work this concert as security.
yeah,
But again, these are people with zero security experience.
none.
They just basically, you send a advertisement for one person to come and work this thing, and all these different people show up, and you find a place on your roster for all these people. Once they get in to the concert, they just take off their vest and blend
Yeah,
in with the crowd, and now you don't have no idea who your security guards even were, because you didn't know them from the beginning. You
yeah.
didn't know anything about these
So that
people.
means one, you didn't vet them, which
Right.
means background checks. So you don't
Hmm.
even know if you have a convicted felon out here,
Right.
possibly a murder, out here working up under your umbrella. Like
Right.
you can't even show any evidence of other than who applied. You
Right.
don't have, of who actually, was supposed to be there and what they, as a security guard.
Right.
I mean, at the most, and I've been on the onboarding side of some things before, like this should have been at least 3 months out, getting people to
Yeah.
apply.
Yeah. You
Uh,
can't do this day
yeah,
before and expect it not to be a shit show,
yeah,
because
getting them to apply, doing background checks. That way you can get back with them and say, yes, sorry, you can't come. But we were unable to, move you forward in the onboarding process. Try again later, or give to give you the links if something's wrong. You can go ahead and dispute it or whatever the case may be. But that wasn't even that. Like you can't do something of this magnitude with this many people.
right.
What
It's just
kind? You
a
didn't? Did you do a
handful of people.
questionnaire? Like anything?
Yeah, so it's like a handful of people that you thought that you were going to be able to train overnight to be security and then you have to think, like, how unsafe should the artist feel if you have security, if you are the artist and you assign somebody, hey, you guys are going to be the organizers, you're going to handle the hiring of the security, the merchandisers, all of that stuff is on you. Okay, and then they hire a bunch of freaking Looney Tunes.
Off the street.
You don't know if they even have a beef with Travis Scott. If you know how some people
We
have
thinking
have that,
alike.
Yeah, they got those weird thoughts that Travis Scott might have said something about them in their dream or something,
Oh
and
my
then
God.
they go on a quest to do something to him. And I'm not saying that's what happened here, but I'm saying this is a what if situation. If
Yeah.
this is the type of job that you can expect them to do when they're hiring people to be security for the artist and for the crowd. That's ridiculous. That's
Yep. Because
ridiculous.
they would have had the ability to go wherever they wanted to. Their security.
Right. Now, I think I found what you were talking about. We're talking about Police Chief Troy Finner. So he said in a statement on Monday that he met with Travis Scott and his head of security for a few moments before he went on stage. The chief of police of Houston said, I expressed my concerns regarding public safety, and that in my 31 years of law enforcement, I have never seen a time with more challenges facing citizens of all ages, to include a global pandemic and social tension. He asked Travis Scott and his team to work with the Houston police for all events over the weekend and to be mindful of his team's social media messaging on any unscheduled events. The meeting was brief and respectful, and a chance for the chief to share his public safety concerns as chief of police. So he went on to say that he did tell him this is way too many people. You guys got way too many people here. Uh,
Yes.
and there were other things that Chief Finner said, and I guess I'm going to cover them right here because we got the little banners. We're going to talk first about the fire chief being denied his request to tour the area prior to the event. So the fire chief said that he went over there per usual. This is part of something that he does no matter who the artist is. If they're having an outdoor, rather an indoor event, he wants to tour the facility or the area that this event is happening in so that he can make sure there aren't any obvious fire hazards. And they told him no twice and gave him a map.
And if that
Now,
was what and that's grounds for shutting that down. That wouldn't
that is
fly
the
anywhere else.
and that is the issue. You know how crazy things is over here. I don't know if it's like this all over Texas, but over here in Harris County, those Harris County, of course, takes precedent over Houston, the city, the county
Hmm.
over the city.
Hmm.
There's a judge that they have to go through, even if it's an event that is in Houston. If Houston says we're not no, we're not gonna say that you can have that event at NRG Stadium, that that person's team, the artist team, can go and say, okay, well, I'm gonna ask Harris County, and
Hmm.
Harris County is who said, oh yeah, you guys can use NRG Stadium. So the police didn't even want this thing to go down. But now what it does, it takes the jurisdiction away from the Houston Police Department and puts it on the county. And that is why the Houston police chief couldn't shut it down. They can go and they can check and they can inspect and they can expect you to cooperate with them while they're trying to do their job, but they couldn't shut it down.
Hmm.
And that is crazy to me because if it's in the city of Houston, where I'm from up in Indiana, if there was an event in Gary police would have a right to shut that event down.
And they
But
had
this,
and the police chief has shut stuff down as being a fire hazard before.
right.
We've heard of this before,
So
being from Gary, Indiana.
right. So this just an example. Yeah, that was just us throwing that out there. Here you can actually go over Houston's head, go to the county, and now the county is accountable for what happened here in Houston. So the police chief says his hands were basically tied. The event was sanctioned by Harris County, not the city of Houston. It was Harris County that agreed to the contract with Live Nation and NRG Stadium. So that was all on Harris County. So Chief Finner, Houston Police Department, he said they were only supposed to be there for traffic management and traffic enforcement. That's it. They did not have any jurisdiction above that. Um, Chief Finner went on to say the ultimate authority to end that show was with the production team and the entertainer, which is basically like, you hear this bus starting, honk honk, I'm about to hit you with it. Travis Scott and Live Nation just got thrown under the bus by Chief Finner. And you know what? I don't blame him, because a lot of fingers was pointing at him about why
Hmm.
things didn't happen this way or that way. And he's telling you, I have absolved me and my officers of anything to do with this. It has everything to do with Live Nation and with uh, Travis Scott. I talked for a long time.
No, that's good. That's good information because we go we so many times we just go into blaming and
Yep.
accusing,
Yep.
and we don't know the backstory and we don't care, and that's dangerous.
And that's why we were like, as far as the first report that I did, it was a solo report, but I did want to make sure we got one day of nothing. You're not getting anything, really hardly any opinions. You're going to just get what we know so far.
Hmm.
Now, that was the first story. Moving forward, of course, we are injecting our opinions in it, but we are making sure that we're giving y'all the truth
Yes.
as far as we can get it. We're not going off of rumors. We're not going
Hmm.
off of he said, she said. Like, even when we talk about the security guard who made that statement saying that they were just hiring people and blah blah blah, we have no way of substantiating she was actually a security guard. But I've said that in other broadcasts. I don't have no way of knowing if what she's saying is the truth. I'm only telling you that she said this. But now this stuff that I'm pulling up from the sources that we found
Yep.
online,
Or-
we are making sure that we are passing on truthful information. We,
Yeah.
even though we are still highly emotional about it. Uh, both of us are parents. Both of us are in Texas at this point. I'm in Houston, but yes, we're both in Texas,
Yeah.
and so we feel a little bit more connected to this story probably than a lot of people, because we just want to make sure that the truth is being told.
Yeah. And like I was telling, like this is a pandemic. We just had the ACL concert here, and there had to be provisions in there for that concert, and that concert lasted 3 days. And if the provisions were in there for that concert, they would have not been able to have that concert here in Austin, Texas.
Yeah, but here these people, you go through one thing and hit a roadblock, you can go over that person's head, and that just,
Yeah.
to me, it should have, Harris County should have never sanctioned this place to be used, NRG Stadium to be used, unless they were going to send Harris County police officers to be the people who secured this area.
Yeah.
Uh,
And then, like I was telling you before, like we were trying to go to the Charlie Wilson concert, and we had to get a COVID test 72 hours beforehand and show proof of vaccination.
Now, I did see something, and I'm going to try to find that source. I did see something where they did say that they had to show proof of full vaccination. But if you got 1,000 people who just rushed over the doggone security
Oh.
guards and all around the barriers, you have no idea who you got in there anymore.
And they let you further know that that was a time to shut it down then,
Yep.
because you're breaking the pandemic protocol.
Now, I don't know. Did we say that in this one, where the artist should be able to tell the crowd that if you guys don't, was that before when
No, we didn't talk about that, but
the
go
artist
ahead.
should be able to tell the crowd that, hey, if you guys ain't doing what you're supposed to be doing, I got to end this concert.
Mm-hmm.
You ain't getting no refund. Was that this stream we said that?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. We
I'm
were
a little,
talking about it should be in a clause.
I'm a little. So
No, you said that should have been a clause
yeah,
when they
well, it
bought their
it
ticket.
definitely should be.
Yeah,
And
because
then how do you go
when I
ahead?
got those NFL tickets, you had to show, look. I bought insurance. They offered insurance, and they let you know, like, hey, this is what it is.
I agree. Now, and then another big old fail, and I know we hopping all over the place, but this is a little wild and loose today. I'm sorry. I want to know why the production team, who would be Live Nation and whoever else that's supposed
Mhm.
to be looking out for the best interest of their artist, Travis Scott, I wonder why these people didn't tell this boy that people died at this concert. They let this boy go to Dave and Buster's. Now he didn't got taken. This picture's been taken of him at Dave and Buster's after 8 people die at your concert. How big of a PR nightmare is that? That is flipping.
Huge.
I couldn't. Yeah. Who
Yeah,
does that?
yeah. There's some heads would have been rolling for
Because
real.
is it just me, or should he have known before he left the stadium that people had lost their lives at this at his concert? I
Yeah,
think, but instead here he is, Dave and Buster's. You know, if and don't nobody else catch it, TMZ gonna catch it. Okay, so TMZ said that Travis supposedly went to Dave and Buster's for an after party following the AstroWorld Festival. The Cactus Jack founder was reportedly unaware of the mass casualty event that occurred and ended with 8 dead, dozens of hospitalizations, numerous injuries, and now a freaking bevy of lawsuits. He got a
yes.
bevy of them things.
A bevy.
Uh, Go ahead.
No, I was just saying a bevy of
Yeah, a whole
lawsuits.
bevy of them, girl. So,
A
uh,
plethora.
a freaking a whole conundrum of them.
Jesus.
Travis didn't know the severity of the situation when he arrived at the party as far as timing. Now, that remains consistent with the fact that no one, including the police, had publicly confirmed the gravity of the events that had taken place. Now, because I didn't get wind of what happened over at NRG until the next morning, so I wasn't. Oh, excuse me. I'm not sure at what time the story broke publicly. Like, I
Hmm.
wonder what time the first news source picked up that these things happen at NRG. I still think that if the police told the production team, you need to shut down, this is a mass casualty event, and they have that marked down at 9:08. That's what time they told uh Travis Scott's production team that this is a mass casualty event. I can't understand why they allowed him to continue going on and on and on without telling him what happened, and then let him leave and go to a freaking party after the fact.
That shows very
They just
like he
idiots.
did not care at all. That's what
Not
it.
at all.
That's what it's portraying. All right, you got me a full
Yeah, because I
picture of
thought you
me.
was I thought you was talking some more. But yeah, it's a I can't understand, believe that they allowed that to happen. That was like who is running the show? Like, I don't get it. You let the inmates run the flipping prison? Is that what we doing now?
Uh-huh.
And then also Chief Chief Finner, that's the Houston Police Department. He said that there were 3 or 4 security companies that were in charge of security for that event. So it wasn't all coming through
Okay.
one place, but there were 2 or 3, and he said some of them, the records are not good. So those people already, okay, you use 3 security companies. If 2 of them had bad reputations, you already fucked. It's like you can't. How do you get around that?
You can't.
Who hired the security companies? That's the question. They got to hold a lot of guilt on this. If you
Yes.
cut that kind of corner just to keep the bottom line for more profit, the chief also, again, in his extensive defense of his department, he says that every year that he increased the number of officers that was devoted to this event. He started off giving 170 officers for traffic control and enforcement. 2018, he gave 240 officers. 2019, he did. No, I read that wrong. 170 officers in 2018, 240 officers in 2019, and then this year around 530. And again, only thing that they are supposed to be doing is checking the perimeter, traffic enforcement, traffic management. That's it.
Hmm.
So
Yes.
if you got 500 police officers around your perimeter and everything that happened wrong happened within that perimeter, that ain't their fault. I
I'm
know a lot of
wondering
people
how
want to,
much happened outside that perimeter. I'm wondering.
yeah, but I also would think that because that is a public street at that point, it's no longer so it's all Houston. Houston can do whatever they want to you, but inside of that event, that was a Harris County event. It's so crazy. So yeah, this they effed up with the security. They effed up with communication
Yes.
because this after party thing definitely should not have been a thing.
No.
Drake he threw the
Oh,
after party and they were
yeah.
like he didn't know that these things happened either. So his story is matching with Travis Scott that they just
Mhm.
didn't know. But it's still sad
And I'm
because
wondering if their team knew but didn't want to tell them because they knew the money that was going to be generated from the after party.
well they actually we can even take it all the way back to the concert itself because this particular concert was being live streamed by Apple for their
Mm.
iTunes or whatever. So Apple was live streaming this event, which is, if Apple is paying you to live stream your event, you don't want to have to stop the event because you stopping that payday. So, but okay,
It's the root of all
yeah.
evil, money.
Now let me make sure to say that I am saying it was about money. Nobody else has said it was about
Yes,
money. That's just our
our
opinion.
opinion.
But it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see that if Apple is paying Travis Scott probably what amounts to millions of dollars to live stream his event, you do not want to stop that payday. Okay, so now the payday doesn't get stopped. Then, moving forward, they wanted to make sure that he got through his entire set so that Apple would have the product that they're looking for, not knowing that they probably gave Apple one hell of a documentary. Apple can right now, with all the footage they have from the bird's nest views that they had of that crowd and of the performance, Apple now has probably the most evidence that will be needed to bury Travis Scott, you know. And I don't know where I was going because again, I got a little. so I'm rambling. I'm rambling.
It's all right. It's all right.
Eh, Somebody should have told him. Somebody should have told him. He should not have been left out there hung out there to dry like that. Let's see. Let's see. We
They
move on
had
to a next.
exclusive rights to stream the live events.
Uh, exactly. So if they have that kind of right, number one, they've got a hell of a documentary on their hands because all they have to do is find a talking head and cut in all the original footage that nobody else has of this event. So they're gonna make their money.
And it
Apple
can
is.
possibly be turned over probably for
Oh,
evidence.
it ain't just possibly. I think it's definitely that's evidence now. It's all evidence. And uh the attorneys for the people who were the attorneys for the people who were injured, y'all made their job that much easier. All they have to do is pull the footage that Apple recorded of this thing. Then there was this other guy, that Darius Williams kid who quit his job as a security guard the morning of the thing because he said he didn't get trained. Did you see that thing? It was a CNN video.
No.
Yeah, I've been having problems with my videos and stuff, and also Disney has already slapped my hand today about sharing copyrighted material, so I can't do that. Okay, so you're gonna have to take my word for it. There was a young man by the name of Darius Williams who was hired to be security at this event, and he says that he quit because they didn't train him well enough. And I agree with him. If it was
And
me,
I
I'd have
applaud
quit
that
too.
young man.
I would have quit too, because you're not about to put me in a position where people's lives are dependent on me doing the right thing, and I don't even know what the right thing is. That's sad. And where else are we? Oh, and let me think. Did I put it in the description? If I have not yet done so, I'm going to add these links to the stories that we were referring to today. I'm gonna
Hmm.
add them to the description so that you'll be able to see what we were seeing. Let's see. So yeah, so the biggest question is still, and I guess the question that we will end with all the time until we've gotten some finality to the story. Um, the question is, who's to blame? Who's to blame? And every day I get more and more evidence that says that is mostly, to me, the organizers. So if Travis Scott had his own team of organizers, that's one thing. Then it would be Travis Scott's fault completely. If Live Nation was responsible for hiring organizers, then they get all of the smoke. They get it all. I think it's a combination of both.
Yes.
I'm not 100% sure, you know, who's going to end up paying more, but I do know that Live Nation is going to I mean that both of them are going to carry the same amount of heat. I was watching and if you know who Kendall Ray is on YouTube, she has another podcast, and the podcast is called The Sesh. So if you want to see the video footage that I'm about to talk about, you can check out The Sesh with Kendall Ray and her cousin. I can't remember her cousin's name, Janelle. So Kendall and Janelle. Okay, so Kendall Ray had on her Sesh podcast, they shared a video of, it had to be at least 10 minutes of performers, varying performers, looking out in the crowd and stopping their concerts. It was a lot of different performers who looked out in the crowd, saw somebody in distress, stopped their concert. And this has been an ongoing practice of theirs for years. This is not something that they just started uh, in the wake of this situation.
Hmm.
I have never been to one of these huge outdoor festivals like this, but there was one act, and I really wish I could remember who the act was. That act had their crowd trained. He said, when you see someone on the ground, and the whole crowd said, pick them up. He said, so if you see somebody in danger, pick them up. So the whole crowd basically knew that he wasn't going to perform until they knew the rules, and that
Hmm.
they knew the rules, that there are rules to being a part of my audience. And if you want me to continue performing, then you do your part in making sure that the person standing next to you is still standing. Okay, so that's one thing. And that's way back, and we can go back 15, 16 artists that she put in that little montage that she had. Then we hear that over the last few days here, we've been hearing more people paying more attention to what's going on in the crowd, having people help those people that are who need aid. So we
Hmm.
see that it's making a difference um, after,
Yeah.
but we also see that
That it was a
some
before.
people had these practices in place before. So
Hmm.
now, if they had the sense enough to know that they needed to have these practices in place, then
See where
it,
you're going with this.
yeah, how did they not have a clue what was going on? How did they not have these kinds of practices? What what is different about Travis Scott than those artists? Besides the youth, I would guess he's a young artist, so he ain't thinking. Maybe he thinking everybody invulnerable. I don't know, but that's something that they should consider is having a policy in place like that, where if again, I'm telling you the rules of me performing, and if you don't want me to perform, let somebody hit the ground and you don't pick them up. I'll go home and keep your money. But it's evidence that a crowd will work with an artist if the artist is giving them something to work with,
Yeah.
And
And
it's go ahead.
whew, I don't know. Like I said, my heart goes out to these people. I could not imagine being in a crowd that
That size.
huge. I've been to concerts, I've been to outside concerts, but I don't think it was that many people. It was enough people, but
Those festivals get like the festivals get more crazy. Festivals get to be 50, 60, 70, hundreds of thousands of people. And
I think the most probably I maybe it was a taste of Chicago.
oh yeah. And that's a big thing. The Taste of Chicago was a huge event, but it never got where people
Yeah.
was getting trampled and all of that. One thing that a rabbit hole I went down was talking about those fails at other concerts. I went down a rabbit hole the other day. Okay, so I was like, how often does an event turn into chaos like what happened with this AstroWorld Festival? Now I
Mm-hmm.
can honestly say this AstroWorld Festival, this thing is horrible. It's really bad. I didn't know or remember that at Woodstock 1999, how crazy that Woodstock got. Now they have a documentary on HBO about that festival, the music fest, and three people died over that weekend. So it wasn't all in that one event, but they
Mm-hmm.
said that event was off the chain.
Yeah.
Women were being sexually assaulted. It was just wild times. So
And
doing
you
it,
know the drugs were,
yeah, but I mean, talking about 1999.
yeah.
That wasn't that long ago. It wasn't the same kind of drugs they got now. I would think they got worse stuff out now than they did then.
I don't know because then it had the PCP stuff like
But
that.
like that's been out forever. 1999.
I know, but like
Yeah.
you know,
Like, because like, in 1999, how old was I? 29, 20, 26. So I was 26 in 1999. Was we doing PCP and shit?
well,
I don't,
I wasn't, but I'm quite
right.
sure. At Woodstock, there
Yeah.
was a lot of free
But
love going
yeah,
on
that was in
there.
1969.
Well, I'm quite sure that there was some people there exhibiting the same behavior and other things
Yeah. So,
because that's what Woodstock is known for.
right, original Woodstock.
Yeah.
But then you telling me 30 years later they have a freaking Woodstock reunion and this type of shit went down, because free love is one thing, but you sexually assaulting somebody is something entirely different.
No. I was just saying that's what in the
What
70s.
type of
So when people probably heard of Woodstock again, they were like, the more older goers, because I'm quite sure it was some older, the older participants were there, but maybe like in a different section,
yeah.
and then like the younger people are coming along. So, it was just a mix of different things going on. And when you're in those big old crowds, that's what you gotta beware of that. Your
Pickpockets.
pickpocketers, people cutting your purse off you,
Right.
things like
But
that.
and that's what I hear what you're saying. I hear you saying. but I'm talking about like this documentary. What it showed was legit sexual assault. It wasn't like these people was packed on each other the way they were at this Travis Scott concert. The shit was real spread out. So you got to
Mm,
go out of your way
mm.
to grope women and doing the stuff. And it was part of a culture of the time. You remember, it was a time where men acted like they didn't have to ask you permission to put their hands on your body. That was just a part and parcel of the times. We can recall walking down the hallway and somebody grabbing your ass, and they act like it was they ass.
And that's
you
why
don't
we
you
act
don't
like it was our
yo
foot.
this ass whooping. But that's what I was trying to say is this 99 event, as
I'm
bad
like
as it
that.
was, it didn't all happen at one time. It happened over the course of the weekend. And then we
Hmm.
had
The
uh
what we know of, that's another thing. Some stuff may not have been reported.
true. You think that 80 or that 8 people dying would not be reported though? I mean,
Oh no,
if
I'm not talking about. I'm talking about the assault. The
oh
assault.
yeah, that's yeah, I don't know, like I'm not capping for Travis Scott saying that there were everything that happened in that crowd was his fault. So if other things did happen, like such
Hmm.
as the things that happened at that
Yeah.
Woodstock, has nothing to do with Travis Scott.
No.
The
No.
only thing that he has something to do with is the safety. And
Yes.
but then a lot of people, the reason why I went down the rabbit hole is because I keep hearing, well, somebody needs to be held accountable. And a part of me says Travis Scott could be my son. So now if it was my son, and I know something happened and it was unintentional, I'm looking for a way to help my child out. So
Yeah.
now I start looking for ways to help him out, and I come across all these other fucking concerts and shit where these things have happened. Now we have to go back a little further for the next one. It was like in the 70s.
Hmm.
Yeah, in the 70s, where the Who had a concert. The Who, remember the group The Who?
Oh yes, I remember.
Okay, so in 1979, they had a concert in Cincinnati
Hmm.
where they only had like the venue that they were going to, or what they were having this concert in, only
Hmm.
had like the two doors. You know how that it's kind of wide, but it's still only two doors, and the people were outside taking the tickets, and the guests standing in line waiting to get into this concert heard the Who doing a sound check, and they thought it was the concert starting. So they broke out running. So everybody's running at the same time. And at this
Mm,
concert, 11 people died. And I'm like,
mm,
okay, if you're talking about, well, somebody needs to be held accountable, you had an opportunity to hold somebody accountable 50 years ago, but you chose not to do it. So why now? Why are you so excited now to hold people accountable? You know what I mean? Is it because you got a young black face to attach to a tragedy? Because that's a little part of how I feel. I do believe that Travis Scott should be held accountable, but I have to play devil's advocate. Where was this energy when that shit happened? In the more pure times. They say we more wild and barbaric now. Times were more pure in the 70s. Why you didn't hold the Who accountable for what happened? Um, so we got this. Now there are some other, of course, around the world things have happened, like
mhm.
but in the United States, girl. Now this is one, the ghost ship fire. I never heard, and that happened in 2016. D. I don't remember hearing this, but tell me if you remember the story as I read it to you. This
Okay.
happened in December 2nd, 2016, in Oakland, California. It says at an underground electronic music party in Oakland, a fire broke out that trapped and killed 36 people. The
Oh.
incident took place in a former warehouse turned artist collective venue called the Ghost Ship, which had no smoke detectors or sprinklers and contained a significant amount of flammable material. It was the deadliest mass casualty event in Oakland since the Loma Prieta earthquake in 1989. So that was in 2016, and 36 people lost their lives. Do
Mm,
you remember that?
no.
I don't either. I don't either. Then I know you remember this one when the Indiana State Fair, when the stage collapsed.
Yeah, oh, because I was sitting here thinking, I'm like, I've heard some other things going. Yes, I remember that.
August 13th, 2011, in Indianapolis, Indiana. Strong winds upended the metal scaffolding and stage equipment at the 2011 Indiana State Fair while a crowd was packed into the concert venue. Audiences had been waiting for an outdoor performance by Sugarland when 70-mile-per-hour wind blew through the fairground and caused the stage to collapse. The disaster resulted in the tragic deaths of 56 concert goers. So I mean, that's an act of God. I don't know if you can who can you accuse, I mean, who can you blame except for the fact that if it was in the weather report that this wind was going to be like this, you probably should have canceled the event.
Yeah.
Is I can't remember what was being said at the time. Were people making that like comparison that they should have stopped it when if they saw the weather or something? 'Cause I don't
Mm-hmm.
remember. I remember the event, but I don't remember like what everybody's opinions were when it happened.
Because I was Googling some things too while you were talking and came up with a
Uh-huh.
couple of things. You were you done?
I got a couple more on my list here.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
The station nightclub fire. That was February 20th, 2003 in Rhode Island. 100 people died at that concert.
Ooh.
Crowds were well past fire capacity the night of the station nightclub fire, and 100 people died while watching the band Great White. The band's tour manager set off some pyrotechnics. I remember this that set insulation ablaze, and it took a while for the audience to understand that the flames were not part of the show. And
Mm.
once they did, of course, everybody started running. There was a mass exodus, but most tried to leave the way they'd entered. The
Mm.
ensuing stampede caused uh, people to be crushed and knocked over. People died from suffocation, smoke inhalation, or were claimed by the fire itself, including the lead guitarist of Great White, Ty Longley. So, um, in January 2010, the club's owners, the foam manufacturers of the insulation, Anheuser-Busch, Clear Channel Broadcasting, and the town of West Warwick settled for $176 million to be distributed among the survivors of the fire and the children and the families of those who perished.
Mm.
So we see an example there of who ended up having to pay. Still, that's a very low settlement for 100 people. $176 million and 100 people died. 176 sound low, don't it?
Yeah, and then we don't even know how that was distributed.
Right.
Yeah.
And you got to go all the way back to 1977 in Southgate, Kentucky to find a concert that had deaths, that had more than 100 deaths. The Beverly Hills Supper Club was a sprawling maze of a club in Kentucky, located just across the bridge from Cincinnati, Ohio. Several events were going on at the same time on the night of the fire, including banquets, receptions, and a John Davidson concert. All of those were connected by narrow passageways in the same structure. So nobody knows what really caused this fire, but what is known is that the fire was well underway when it was discovered by two waitresses. The cabaret room where two comics were warming up. They wait a minute. I lost myself. Oh, two comics were warming up an audience of about 1,000 people in a space that was meant for 600 people. So I mean, they that had the most people. 165 people died at this event. 165. And then the only one that has more than that was in Buenos Aires, Argentina. So the ones that were in the United States, I pretty much covered.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, some of this stuff, if you wanted to blame people, you had plenty of people to blame. You had plenty of faces to make a part and parcel of the loss of life at a concert. Instead, we are so insistent that we put this young man's face as the face of a person who doesn't care when this shit has happened over time
Yeah.
at concerts before.
Yeah.
And Clarence had made a statement, like he said, it's kind of hard to what does he say? It's kind of hard to have control over that many once you get that many people involved.
Yeah.
And of course, it always seems like, oh no, because this place did it and that place did it. Yeah, they were just lucky that nothing happened. That Clarence. Ultimately, he's 100% right. It was really just luck that nothing happened.
Yeah.
Here, we didn't get that lucky. Eight
No.
people, boy. Oh, now you were about to say something. You got a
No, I had looked up uh, uh, the some lists, and unfortunately, it's quite a few. Like you said, a lot of them did not happen here in the United States.
right.
Then Germany, Denmark. Um, it
Yeah.
was crazy. It's just crazy. I was reading this one where it was like the venue was only set to hold 200,000 people, and 1.4 million people showed up.
Shut the front door. how do, how how do you fit 1 million people in a space that is made for 200,000? You gotta be David Copperfield. You gotta be a freaking magician to get a million people and don't think nothing gonna happen. You know something gonna happen. You know something's gonna jump off if you get 100 or if you get 200,000 people in one place. But now you're talking about 1 million people. Oh gosh, that's absolutely insane, insane. But yeah, there's so much. Um, Look, we have Ambria Ashley says, "Wow." Like, yeah, I don't know which one of the things that you said wow about, because you said it a couple minutes ago. But yeah, this is not this is not an isolated event. So there's precedent. There have been concerts where large numbers of people have died, but now they want somebody to pay. They want somebody to pay for it. And I mean, I don't think they are talking about in just money, because I expect for money to be paid
Hmm.
100, but I believe they're going to try to make this criminal. Now,
Yeah.
one of the things, and I wanted to come back to before I forget, because I've been the devil's lettuce, me and the devil's lettuce. So they were saying that the chief was saying that that the thing about people going around with the syringe wasn't true.
Hmm.
And he was like, even that security officer that everybody was saying had gotten stuck in the neck with the
Uh-huh.
syringe, that was widely reported all over the place. The chief of police said that stuff wasn't true. And I wanted to make sure I said that before I forgot, because I actually reported that the other night too, because
Hmm.
that was what was being widely reported.
Hmm.
But come find out that part wasn't true. So at least that's not true. Shit.
Yes, we're hoping that that's not true. That wasn't true with that case.
Huh?
With the police officer.
Yeah. Because they were saying they treated him with Narcan and all this stuff,
Yeah.
but really all the only thing that happened to him, he got hit in the head.
Yeah.
At least
I saw
that's what
that.
they are saying now.
Hmm.
The story is fluid. It is gonna change. I'm 100% sure we're gonna find something different in a couple of days. And that's why you guys want to keep your ear to the ground and subscribe if you're not yet subscribed, just in case we come back with updates to this story.
Yes. Subscribe and and set your notifications.
Bing.
They didn't do me any good earlier today, but I had
Well,
my
just because,
notifications. So
yeah, YouTube is playing. YouTube is playing with my emotions, but that's okay. Um, yeah, I'm trying to think. Do we have any questions, comments, concern that you guys want shared, or that you want our commentary on? You can put those in the comments below or in the chat. I'm sorry, but yeah, as we move through this thing, it just starts. It just gets worse. Just keeps getting worse.
and it's gonna get worse and
Yeah.
worse. Um, Unfortunately, it's gonna get worse. It's gonna have legs of getting worse. Maybe I'm thinking maybe for a month, because you gotta wait for all of these lawsuits to get entered. Um, and then like see, because I'm guessing that they're gonna, put them all together and then
Class
distribute
action.
get set on an amount
Yeah.
and go from there.
Yeah, this is one heck of a class action suit,
Yeah,
because we're at, what did we say, over 200
over 200.
lawsuits,
Yes,
and today is what, Friday, so it's been 1 week, and we went from 0 to 100 real quick, real
yes.
quick. So it's looking like it's going to balloon a little bit more. We haven't seen the last lawsuit, so we're at 200 something. I'm pretty sure it's going to get higher.
Oh
And
yes.
oh,
It's
poor
gonna
thing.
it's gonna get outrageous.
Yeah, it's going to get to a number that you can't get, and that's, I mean, unless his girlfriend is going to help him out. Now, one of the things that I'm going to say this, and this is just a rumor, it's just me being messy. Do not take this to the bank, because you will not be able to cash it. There are a lot of people speculating that the Kardashians are going to start to isolate him. They're going to start to pull themselves away from him, because
I thought
he
about
is
that too.
bad publicity right now. He's bad publicity. And you know what? Their whole brand is publicity. So people are saying that it's a possibility that they're going to start pulling away from him, and kind of forming their ranks around Kylie and the baby, because who needs him when they got everything they need over there, basically.
I thought about that today, and you know what? If they do that, that's so wrong. At the end of the day, they have a child together, and if they're together, I feel like she should be able to support him. Um, in any way she feels fit. I was reading something earlier today where they were talking about Khloe Kardashian, where she is getting a little slack because she hasn't really commented on anything, and she continued to throw the birthday party for the niece or something of that effect.
And there was that thing where she posted that picture, like, okay, so she hasn't made a statement, but I
Hmm.
guess she feel like this ain't my statement to make. That's my sister's statement to make.
Hmm.
But okay, then she went on to say how horrible she felt about the tragedy, and then the next set of things you see is a picture, a set of those selfies that she likes to take, trying to be sexy. And they like, really, girl? You really? This is where your focus is when all these people dead, and you got all that money, and you could help them? Really? So I kind of see where people coming from, but she's not the one that's dating Travis Scott.
Hmm.
So I feel like she should, uh if you want to be United States royalty, if there is such a thing, if you want to be United States royalty, you got to know when to turn the shit down a little bit. You got to read the room.
Yeah.
And she didn't, obviously she didn't read the room. Yeah.
Yeah. It's when we were talking, you know, whether it's a tragedy or not, anytime someone goes through a horrific ordeal,
Mhm.
you remember the families and the individuals.
Right.
Where does it say? Where is it that it says that you cannot be compassionate to everybody?
And I get what you're saying. I'm gonna let you go, because I think I know what track you're on. If you're looking for me to comment, let me know, because I'll burn this mic up.
Because I'm just saying, our girl Erica Badu,
Hmm.
she got on Twitter and she said, and I'm paraphrasing, she basically, sent her blessings out to Travis Scott, and then she also said she was sorry and sent her blessings towards the families and this journey that they have now been thrown into. And she has gotten all the flack in the world. And I just don't understand why we're so quick. Because at the end of the day, put yourself in that situation.
Right.
If you were Travis Scott's mother, father, cousin, brother, sister, anybody, you would want someone to throw some blessings out there for your family. That's not throwing blessings out there doesn't mean exonerate him from all uh what I want to say,
Whatever culpability he
responsibility.
has, right?
That's just throwing a blessing out there to their family that they get through this, however this may end up, that everybody involved, everybody impacted gets through this. We forget about compassion until it comes our turn.
Right. So, because what it sounds like, I mean, like, even though we might say he could be financially liable for
Mm-hmm.
the things that happened,
Mm-hmm.
at that Travis Scott didn't come off that stage and run nobody over.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, he can't be held responsible for the part that's out of his control.
Yeah.
So it was an accident on
Yeah.
his
A
behalf. On
terrible.
his behalf, it
Yeah.
was an accident, and
On
he,
several behalves.
yeah, and then, I mean, some people could have had the crystal ball and seen that this shit was gonna happen. Live Nation, I'm looking at you. You guys have done far more events of this magnitude than Travis Scott has. So maybe Travis Scott put his eggs in one basket as to who he was trusting to give him information as
Mm-hmm.
the information was becoming available. They failed at that. Therefore, this makes it his failure as well. But that
Mm-hmm.
don't mean that he don't feel bad about it.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm saying, you know what, I am praying and I'm sending out my well wishes to the families that were involved in this tragedy and to Travis Scott. It don't mean that I'm complicit in what happened at this event. It
Yeah.
means I understand that this young man could not have intended for this shit to happen. There
Mm-hmm.
is no way that he knew that this was going to happen. So I'm going to pray for your mental health, for
Yeah.
you to have the strength to get through the storm you about to feel, because you're about to feel one.
Yeah.
You, and I hope that you have the people around you that can help hold you up when you're at your weakest, because you're going to get weak.
Yeah.
and
People gonna come for you just because of
and
your
they
name
coming.
and the
They're
money they
coming.
think that you have,
Yep.
and the money they think that they're entitled to. Their
It's
your
their
money
money.
that they think that you're
Yeah.
entitled to.
Yeah. It's freaking their money now. They want
And,
that money.
and it,
And
yeah,
oh gosh.
and
Yeah.
it's just so it's so sad. But then the thing about it is, we as the consumer have to be aware. I'm quite sure people knew what went on at Travis Scott's concerts. I mean, I didn't, because I didn't hear about any of this until
Not,
this
yeah.
happened.
Not our demographic.
You know, um, I'm just saying, just be aware of what you're walking into. And
Yeah.
it's okay to skip that concert. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Listen to your inner self.
Yeah, that
Because,
gut is telling you something for a reason.
right, like you could have been watching this on Apple. But I understand with the pandemic, people haven't been able to go anywhere, been able to do anything. But at the end of the day, you have to make sure that you are safe and your family are
Yeah.
safe.
Mm-hmm. Because at the end of the day, Travis Scott made sure his people was good. So if you know he's gonna look out for his family, you got to look out for you and yours.
Mm-hmm.
And not to say that anybody who went there
Deserve
and was
this.
hurt or whatever, it is not your fault.
No,
But now the only thing we can do at this point is what can we learn from this
moving
situation?
forward.
So moving forward, and this is two mamas, two
Yeah,
black mamas, and we do things a little different when we black mamas. We telling you,
yeah,
don't take your ass to no fucking concert with 50,000 people trying to rush your way to the front. When
yeah,
you see other people trying to rush their way to the front, you get on the outsides of that thing. Do not be walking down the middle. Don't it does It's not that important to be standing dead in front of no stage.
And
It's
for
not that
the
important.
and for the love of God, if you see something, doggone it, say something.
Right. Exactly.
If you see some behavior that is not normal, that you know is not supposed to happen, report it.
Yeah.
You can report stuff anonymously. If you're worried about your name being out there, report it. We always, and when I say we, I'm talking about us black people, we always see something and then we don't say nothing. We don't wanna, no problems or
Get
anything.
involved and be
Yeah.
a snitch or whatever.
But
And
think about you being in that position. You want somebody to come forward and say something and report what they saw.
yeah,
I'm just saying, like, in this time of people dying for unnecessary things, just be aware of your surroundings. Be aware of your surroundings. Report what you have not seen. You don't have to leave your name. Just, I'm saying, love one another,
yeah. And
because
just
we
be
don't do
be
that
be
enough.
be smart about your shit. And stop shaming people for loving people that you don't love.
Oh,
Stop shaming people for that. That's what goes back to Erica Badu.
yeah,
Stop shaming. Just because you don't find no use for that person does not mean that person is useless. You gotta we gotta stop being that way with each other. We ain't all
hmm,
gonna feel the same way about one another, but at the end of the day, we gotta live on this spinning blue ball in space
yeah,
together.
together.
Shit, you might not be crazy about me. You can always turn me the fuck off. You don't have to listen to what I gotta say and talk crazy shit all in the comments. I don't have that going on right now. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
That's how people act.
We just acted. We're just coming from a place of love as
Yeah.
parents.
Just in case
It's
you ain't
just
heard it
time.
before. Right.
We got
Because
all these young people under 30 and probably over 30 that have been injured, basically impacted from this. And these are people we don't know what their destiny was to
hell
be,
no.
to what it was to be, and now it's cut short.
Mm-hmm. Cut
It's
this
cut short
gone.
because they
Yeah.
were trying to have fun.
And then you think about this as well. Their lives, we lost those 8 people. Then there are people injured. We don't know how many countless of those uh, who are injured beyond the point where they'll be able to fulfill their
Yeah.
intended destinies. And
Yes.
then you got the families and
Yeah.
friends who some people get hit so hard that they can't move on. They don't become the
Domino
person
effect.
that they were meant to be because they have been impacted by something like this. You're
Yeah.
losing many years of productivity and
Yes.
many years of just of life experience is gone. We
This
don't
is
know.
going to cause a definite amount of depression, anxiety, going
Mhm.
out into the world, reintroducing yourself into the world after, after something like this. This doesn't stop. It's going to be with you for the rest of your life.
Right. Do you ever go to a concert again?
Yeah.
Do you ever go to a concert again after you live through some shit like this?
Yeah.
So I know I wouldn't.
No.
I am, of course, I'm a little more fragile than most people about that type of thing anyway. But if something like I'm staying in the house and ain't nothing happened like this to me, I don't think I would be able to go back out in large groups like that ever.
Yeah. I, and personally, I with the COVID stuff, I developed this anxiety situation myself. A lot
Hmm.
of people don't know, um, but I just kept going, kept going, kept going. That is takes enormous impact, and I could not even imagine. Like, I can still go outside, but going into and this is going to affect them, not even just like a concert outside. This was outside. This is
Yeah.
going to affect them going to the grocery store,
Mm-hmm.
gas station, little things that should not be a problem.
That
This
wouldn't,
is
yeah,
they're
wouldn't have
gonna
been one
they're gonna
before.
be super heightened on what's going on around them, to the point where they may not be able to go anywhere for a
Mm-hmm.
long while.
Yeah.
So this is long down the road, a recovery,
Lasting. Yeah, it's like
lasting
lasting.
effects.
Yeah.
And we don't think about that. We don't think about that. We need to think about what we're doing before we doing. Like, is this a good decision? And I'm not saying like you stay in the house forever. I'm not saying not go to concerts, but just be aware. Do some Googling. Everybody Google everything.
Or you at least should. You got a whole freaking computer in your pocket.
Yeah.
Know what the hell is going on.
Yeah.
Now,
Look up.
again, there wasn't nothing that they could have done in the concert situation.
Right.
We're not saying that. We're
Right.
talking moving forward.
hmm Google things that you should do going to a concert of this magnitude. It'll give you maybe some safety tips, something, that can help you out. I just, I'm just lost. I'm at a loss of words. And it's like every day I'm getting up looking to see like what else
Yeah.
has happened, what else has transpired. Because honestly, this is not going to be the last person that potentially dies from this situation, this
Yep.
incident.
Still early. I hope we don't lose anybody else, but that possibility is there,
Yeah,
especially when we talk about like the unseen
yeah,
effects. When you start talking about people who have survivor's guilt,
yeah.
who feel like, oh my God, I survived
Why?
something. Why did I survive and they didn't survive? People like that, are in danger. Their mental health could create an issue where they start to feel like they don't deserve to be alive,
Yes.
and they do something negative to themselves. And I'm not going to say the word because that is a sure way to get flagged on this thing. But you guys know what word I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just be careful when you're going out, and when you go out with friends, you all create a plan. I'm back in the day when we went. Tasha could not leave my sight without me knowing where she was going, because I was going with her. If she went to the bathroom,
We going
I'm
together.
outside the bathroom too. That was one thing that we were taught. You don't leave your friends. You come together, you leave together.
Hmm.
And when you together, you stay together. Don't leave your drink
Oh
unattended.
my gosh. Yes, because they be talking about what they doing to drinks and all of this stuff. You know,
Yes.
they were saying that it was happening at the concert, but who knows if that was true. So don't take that to the bank. I told y'all.
Yeah. Like
You're
if
not gonna be able
you
to cash it.
shoot, guys and ladies, if you need, because if you going out to your car and you feel like you need somebody to escort you to your car, there's nothing wrong with that.
Hmm.
That is nothing wrong with that. And let people know where you are going if you're going solo.
A lot of people have that find my friend, and a lot of people think, oh, that's cheesy. Your family shouldn't have to find my friend. Somebody need to be your friend. Somebody needs
Yeah,
to be able to find you. Shit,
yeah,
because that's another thing. A lot of those people that were at the concert, it took a long while for them to be identified. Now, to me, you go to the concert, and if it's me and you, D, go to the concert. First and foremost, if something happens to you, it ought to happen to me too, because we shouldn't be that far apart. But if we got our phones and nobody can identify us any other way, because you ain't carrying no purse and all of that stuff in no damn concert. So really, your identifying thing is going to be whatever you can carry in a little bitty wallet and your phone.
or
And
in the good old pockets.
yeah, yes, when your family is looking for you, that is going to be a way to know whether you are up and moving around and they don't have to worry about it, or at least you can ease their mind for a moment, or whether your phone is sitting in one place and now I got to be concerned because this thing has happened at this event and my child's phone hasn't moved in X amount of time. Now I know something has happened to my child, or at least I know I need to be worried about it. Because
Yeah.
like there was that one young man who was from Washington State, whose family, the next day his
Mm-hmm.
body was identified,
Mm-hmm.
because he had traveled so far to see this concert. And you know, to have been injured and to be hurt the way he was, uh for him to have no name at that point, to the law enforcement, he's just a body. To you, that's your brother, your cousin, your. So yes, it is a small thing to have one person who is attached to you by your location. So at least one person can give you your name back, instead of a picture on the news saying, do you know this person, you know.
Mm-hmm. And I've even seen where some people write their name. It might sound weird on their arm.
And it's sad that you got to think like that, but yeah, because if you got to do all that shit to go someplace, you probably shouldn't be going. I shouldn't feel like, oh, just in case something happened to me, let me write my name on my arm or my leg. No, if you got to do that, you probably shouldn't go.
Yeah.
You probably shouldn't
Even
go.
even in the apps for the Lyft and the Uber, they have it where you can share your location with a
Mm-hmm.
family member.
Yeah. And I highly recommend doing that.
Oh yes. And make sure that you are checking the license plate and asking the person's name.
Yeah, girl, did you see there that one case of that Uber killer, who the young lady was standing outside of a club and a car pulled up?
Mm-hmm.
You saw that? Okay, so
I saw that.
yeah, and she jumped her ass in it, and that was the last ride she took.
Yeah. And it's so sad. It's like, you make sure that you're checking the license plate and you're making sure that that person looks like the person that's on that picture. Share your location. And if you just don't feel safe getting in there, if once you see them, cancel the ride.
Yep. Even if they charge you, because like for me, like a 7, 10, 12, $15 ride is not worth my freaking life.
No.
It's not. I
So
remember one time I had one Uber driver. How you gonna show up in a whole different vehicle and tell me I'm your Uber driver? No, the fuck you not. Because my Uber driver was supposed to be driving this. You
mhm,
driving that with a whole different license plate, everything. You the right person, but this ain't
mhm.
the car you supposed to be in. So if something happened to me, guess what car they looking for? The other car, not the car I'm in. You gonna have to find somebody else. I'm a little smarter than that. Shit.
Yeah, that happened with my DoorDash food. I was like, this is not Maria. But I took my food.
Yeah, that's a little different. Even though he might, put a little something extra over in there for you.
Okay.
But
That I did look at that pizza real good. I got it. I said, oh my God.
gosh,
Whew.
but yeah, I think I don't have too much else. You got anything else you want to add?
No, I think I put
Have
my
we fussed?
motherly
I'm
advice
just gonna
out
say we
there.
fussed long enough, huh? So y'all got in trouble for coming to this live stream. You had to listen to some old school
Ooh,
mamas give it to you. Give
yeah.
it to you. You better make sure.
Hey, y'all out there living y'all best life.
Yeah.
Y'all senses is down like no.
And the thing is,
Ooh,
yeah. And I can remember, I'm not gonna say that I always followed the rules. I can remember being young.
yeah.
So um don't think that if you make this stupid mistake that, oh, I made this stupid. I was young too, and I made stupid
Yes.
mistakes. And that's
Ooh,
why I'm telling you this shit. So you don't make the stupid mistakes that I made. Duh.
exactly. Exactly. I know. Lord knows. I know.
I made some. I didn't get in no crowd with no 50,000 people. That's for damn sure. But I've done some stupid things too. So and 50,000 people. That's like y'all did that on purpose. Y'all intentionally wanted to be around the 50,000 people. Ain't no way.
And
You
there's no
didn't pay me
no
enough
way to
money.
count like it should have. And quite sure it was way the reports are out there that there were way more
Hmm.
than 50,000 people.
Because some of those people snuck in. You talking about 50,000 paper? Your husband mad? Why you hit that door like that? Tell him don't
No,
make me take off my belt.
No, the doors is just loud, and he closed it with his foot. He said sorry.
So he said, don't be sorry, be careful. Shoot.
He's
But
trying
yeah,
to fix him something to eat and be quiet all at the same time.
bless his heart. Bless his heart. Well, yeah.
So will I
Uh,
have the privilege of being your co-host
yeah,
tomorrow?
we're gonna have so
I'm
much
kind
fun
of liking
tomorrow.
this.
Tomorrow is Saturday,
The
so we're doing
weekly
the
wrap
weekly wrap up.
up.
Yeah.
Wrapping it up.
So if you want to see us tackle some lighter subjects when we won't be
Yes.
so we kind of chill. Tomorrow we get a little turnt. But yeah, we do black movie trivia. We talk about the week in entertainment
That's my
news.
thing right there.
Yeah, and then we just have our little chats like we did at the end of this one. We have a little open chat. We're supposed to also do Eternals spoilers tomorrow. So if you've seen the movie Eternals and you want to talk spoilers, after the weekly wrap up, we'll be doing the spoiler conversation. So
Yeah,
come for the wrap up. And if you got to leave after that, and don't do the Eternals thing, I understand. At least come hang out for the wrap up.
now,
What about
is this Eternals thing on HBO Max? I might have to.
it's what now?
Is it on HBO Max? I haven't watched this. I
It's what
have.
they Eternals?
Uh-huh.
Oh no, that's on at the
Disney.
theaters only. It's a Marvel movie, yeah. So the next time, whenever it comes to streaming, it's going to Disney Plus.
Disney.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, and speaking of Disney Plus, today was Disney Plus Day. A lot of news came out, and if you weren't able to catch it live, there is, of course, the thread that was they had going over on Twitter, and then there are a couple of things, especially if you're an MCU fan, that you need to go over to Disney Plus to look at right now. They put out some little stuff for us, and I want you guys to see it because we're gonna talk about that tomorrow. Um, yeah, so tomorrow at 3 p.m. Central, you can join me and Devena and whoever else. We usually have a little lively crowd going on in the chat.
Yes,
You
Miss
can join the
Bud,
yes,
Reinhardt, Mr.
yes,
Clarence, and Mr. Who was it? Agnes?
Angus
Agnes?
Osano,
Angus.
and
Yes.
and I don't know how many of my regular viewers are catching this, but Stacy, who is usually in our chat,
Mm-hmm.
she's like the elder stateswoman of After the Snap. She is my probably one of my oldest, uh should I say oldest, one of my most mature viewers, but she has been ill.
Oh,
And she sent me a message under one of the videos saying that she had been severely ill, and she's not eating much. The food doesn't taste like anything. I'm hoping it's not COVID. She didn't say that, but we are sending our prayers and well wishes to Stacy, hoping that she
yes,
can
Miss
rejoin
Stacy.
us the stats in the chat. We look forward to seeing you soon. So if you're watching this, we miss you. We miss you. We miss you. And we hope you feel better.
Yes.
Okay. So that's it. That's all for me. What you got?
So that's all from me too. I'll
All right.
see you
Well,
tomorrow.
and hopefully we see you tomorrow along with us. We roll out the red carpet once, not once a week, several times a week. But tomorrow you definitely have a front row seat for the weekly wrap up. With all that being said, I've got nothing else. I've been Tasha. You've been,
D.
oh, she remembered her name. And this has been After the Snap. Hey.